Hey guys, Kelade here. Welcome to my Mythic Wrathion kill/commentary video. On the screen right now, you can see my talents, right? I just changed the Bounding Stride and Blaze Storm, mainly because I just realized that you could use Blaze Storm as a way to clear the mythic mechanic of this fight. So one of the things that you can see right now, next to my character, there's that little kick with weak row that says move less. That's counting down. Now it's at like 18, 17, right? That right now has 2 stacks. If that gets to 50 stacks, you take a lot of damage. First time that happened, I basically died. I'm not sure how much damage it actually does, but it's a lot. Right there you saw I Blaze Storm, the debuff is off. So any movement, like clearing effects, like freedom, would break it. But as a warrior, you can just Blaze Storm and it'll get rid of it. And it's actually really useful in regards to clearing the debuff. Because so basically for this fight, while you have that 3-minute debuff you see next to the lust debuff, you can't really move just randomly, right? Every time you move right now, you see my stacks are going up. Also for this, when you go back out, the easiest that I've found is just to charge in. It lets you get a little bit more DPS, but it also just lets you get rid of the fires easier. And then for this part, you always want to save leap for this, mainly because the leap doesn't stack up as much. It doesn't seem like the stacks are based on the actual distance traveled. It's more so just how long you've been traveling distance. Now, also for this gate, you want to wait for this fire right here to go out, and then you take the gate. That way you make sure that it doesn't go on you. Just an extra, like, less damage taken. So right here, you guys will see I Blaze Storm, right? I had 37 stacks. Now they're all gone, right? So now it's super useful to take Blaze Storm. You probably, Bounding Stride could be a bit more up to you, but really isn't that much damage you're taking on this fight outside of damage that you take when you're running away, right? When you guys saw us running away from the fires on the ground, that's really when I think you take the most amount of damage. Like there's that damage, but like my HP barely moved. So I don't think you need War Paint for this. Bounding Stride is safer in the sense that you probably need your movement abilities more, because if you get caught in the fires, you're basically dead unless a priest grips you. Right, so right here, for these Guild Blasts, you should have time to run out all of them. The only thing I will say is that just pay attention. You want to make sure you're using your corruption correctly, or your cloak correctly. If your corruption is too high, right, where you're getting slowed, you just want to make sure that you're paying attention to the debuff. And if you're slowed by that, you use your cloak to immune it. Because that's actually how I died the first time on this. Is the boss was doing his like fire thing where he spawns the fire under his feet and you have to run out. And I couldn't move because I had the corruption effect on me and I didn't realize it and I just died, right? Like I had like basically a couple seconds to react to realize that I was being slowed and didn't do it fast enough and then died. So right here in this phase, you know, once he does the breathing shit on the ground twice, the second time he kind of goes up, he does this pillar thing. You just want to kill as many of these as you can. Your job is really just to AoE as much as you can as a warrior. Like you're most likely not going to be the ones carrying the fires. The demon hunters in your group are most likely going to be the ones that are always doing this. And generally, you just want to get as much things as you can. So like the difference in Mythic is that you have to light them up to be able to DPS them like this. So whatever your members like worked hard to get to this point, you want to do it. The thing that you want to pay attention to as far as the timer, see that on the upper right, that Wrathion health bar, his energy, right? Basically when that goes to 100 like right now and it becomes active, you get back on the boss. So that's a way for how to track, like, you know, when he's ready. You just watch his energy. Once his energy hits 100, then you're good to go. That's generally the case for that. The other thing I'll really quick say about the corruption cloak right now, you know, if it's like something small like that where the circle's right there and you can move out of it, but if there's any situations where you can't move, don't be hesitant to use the cloak, right? Just, it's fine to use it. A lot of times I don't think it's like, I know I just spawned 2 eyes right there pretty close in a row, but for example right there I didn't want to move more than I had to, so I just popped the cloak, right? Just make sure I don't move, because I see that my stacks are about to fall off, right? So I didn't want to do it, and I Blaze Storm here anyway, so it doesn't even matter. This actually turns into a pretty long fight in Mythic, just because you have to do this over and over, right? And every time he goes up, he basically becomes immune. You know, once he lands, unless you're trying to finish him off, as you'll see later, you're kind of just running around the whole time. So it's not necessarily like a hard boss, it just takes a long time, right? I think the kill takes around like 9 to 10 minutes. So yeah, so this is the fire you don't want to get caught behind, right? Because if you're ever in a situation where you get caught in that fire and you don't make it to your group, you're basically dead, So once again, we just take the gate, you know, go back to the boss, charge up on him, and then just keep hitting him. Now, the one thing I will say, so you guys see the debuff right here for the move less, and then next to it is the on my actual default bar, that 49 seconds, 48 seconds, that debuff. Like that's the debuff that gives you the movement slow, right? When that purple debuff falls off, so will the move less debuff instantly. So if you're ever like going, oh, I'm at 40 stacks, I don't want to get to 50. If your purple debuff is about to fall off, you'll lose everything anyway. So don't worry about that. And then if you get those red things, just go out. I actually never got it. I mean, this is our second pull, so we didn't like have that much, I guess, practice on Mythic. But I guess if you get it, just get away from the rest of the group. And luckily, you almost want to hope that you get it too, because we can clear our debuff with Blaze Storm, right? A lot of classes can't clear it, and they have to rely on the Pally's freedom, which right now in their raid we only have one Pally, so we only have one freedom. I guess maybe two, but regardless, there's not that much, right? And the link is actually pretty good for helping the people get that last steps in through the fire. I was gonna rally, people needed it, but it looked like the link was enough for it there. Right here, once again, go back on the boss, right? You can hit it for a couple of seconds. I mean, you might as well, because there's nothing else. Like if you're not the three people waiting for the thing to come down, you can't really do anything anyways, because unlike the other difficulties, you can't hit the spires until they go over them. Once they do, you want to start hitting them. The thing is, you do want to actually not get in their way, because when they run past you, they'll actually AoE you, so you want to stay out of the way initially. And then as far as for like the higher DPS, just try to find bigger clumps of these things that you can AoE. I guess for you specifically, like for Fury, you just want to worry about like actually having like 5 different ones of these to AoE. And I think this fight, I mean, a lot of it, you'll see like the AoE damage will be insane. If you can somehow find that clump, then that'll like greatly increase your DPS, right? If you're somehow in this situation where you're walking around and you slowly like walking around trying to find like 1 spire DPS, it probably won't be that great, right? I try to also not leap back in the boss just in case. I mean, you never know. So I try to like make sure I use my leap in situations where I really need it to live, rather than for DPS, just on this fight initially. Because this fight, it's pretty unforgiving in that the expectation is that you are able to dodge anything, and if you don't dodge it, you're kind of just dead. Now, the other thing I will say, as you guys will see when we get to closer to end, I think he goes up one more time, actually. I'm not sure exactly if it does or not, but if he does, he doesn't become immune like all the time. Like while he's shooting fires, when he jumps to the other side, he can still DPS him. And actually, I guess this will be it, because he's only at... No, he goes up one more time. Yeah, because he's going to Gale Blast. We're going to charge back in. Unfortunately, that rogue that cloaked, it's a little bit feels bad because I've been using charge as a way to dodge my fire. But if, let's say, the rogue cloaks or Demon Hunter immunes, and or I guess the DK does his anti-magic shield or Pally bubbles, whatever it is, yeah, then unfortunately they'll leave a puddle right there too sometimes. But I guess just be wary of that. That if you're using the charge mechanic, that your other melee is aware of it, so that way they're not just leaving a pull right where you're going to charge into. Because if he was standing where I was going to charge into, I would have just insta died. So I think right here is where we're actually going to, you'll see, even though we don't kill him right away or in this phase, there's a small window of period of time where you can't kill him. So I Blaze Storm right there again, get rid of my stacks. As far as for like when you're second potting, just whenever I think you need it, whenever you have the most amount of other cooldowns. I think I just cloaked this off, yeah. Like I figured the guy's at 8%, right? I get corruption, I'm not gonna move, cloak it off, and then we'll just keep going on getting the boss. Overall, I think this boss, it's not too bad, and I think it is carried by your runners for the pillars. So right here, right? Luckily that fire didn't do that much damage to me. I don't know why it didn't, but went back in, we're good. So right here, he actually phases at 1%. Like, so we're looking for him. Okay, there he is. So that's the thing. You can always follow his spirit, that little ball, and you can see where he goes. And generally, as you're dodging, you just go to the other side of the platform, right? But it's a good way to follow where he goes here. So he is hittable, like when after he comes out of the spear. So we just chase him down, make sure we kill him, so we don't have to do another transition phase. But yeah, that's it for the first boss of the raid. It's a pretty long fight. You just kind of repeat the same steps over and over. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the fight down in the comments below. And as always, thanks for checking out the videos, and feel free to subscribe to see more. See ya.